Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's good to see you all here. And today is July the 11th and of 2021. Wouldn't want to get that mixed up. And we are reading The Only Thing That Matters by Neale Donald Walsch. And
your reader just ran away.
my reader just ran away.
I had to let the dog in. I'm here.
That's okay. I knew you were still here. And anyway, Linda is going to be, she's our reader on high. And she's going to get us on the right chapter and we'll just start from there. And welcome to Anne and Bima. It's good to see everybody here.
And hi, everybody.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get the dog loaded in my lap before I can start. Sorry, he's getting old and he doesn't jump, so this is going to take a minute more. And I was also going to say, I am open to anybody that wants to read. So if there is anybody else that wants to read, you are welcome to say, hey, I'd like to read this week. I'll be right back.
Sorry, I was tardy.
I'll write up a little pink slip later.
Yeah. The problem is I was ready early. So I got here and I was like, to my computer and I'm like, but it won't be open yet. So then I distracted myself.
There you have it.
And I need to set an alarm. I'll do it right now.
Well, I believe we're on chapter 13. Though I could be wrong.
That's right.
Evolution never stops.
Yeah.
Yes,
Merritt?
that's right.
Or Linda, are you back?
Yeah, I think so. He's in a different spot than usual, but
You want Mary to read or somebody else?
no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. We're on chapter 13. Evolution never stops. That's on page 61. The experience of completion is sheer ecstasy for the totality of you, because it is a reuniting and a reunion of your spirit with the spirit, capital T, capital S, the spirit. It is a holy remembering. It is a coming home. Recalling the words of M. Clare, with great innocence, I push off into the open sea and have been away from my home for so long now that I would not recognize my own face. But I know that home remembers me. This holy awareness can occur in any moment and in many moments during a person's life. It is the nature of the sacred journey that makes this possible, for that journey is cyclical, undertaken and completed over and over again at ever-expanding levels of manifestation. It is very much like going through school, finishing one grade at a time. If you're in third grade, you encounter again what you were introduced to in first and second grade, and you now have an opportunity to apply it. You also encounter what you had not encountered before, new and greater challenges, an opportunity to master more. While perhaps useful, this is an imperfect analogy because life is not a school, although many spiritual teachers have told you that it is. And there is nothing you need to learn. Like a tree outside your window whose seed carried within it all the coding required for it to grow into what has become, you arrived here knowing everything you needed to know to be everything you were designed to be. As part of your encoding, you have been given a higher level of consciousness than the tree, of course. But you are in the same way, you are in some ways not unlike the tree, in that you are growing in stages. And like the rings of a tree, each phase of your life represents a specific period of your growth. A soul knowing. There is nothing you need to learn. Even as a tree has many rings, you conclude a growth phase and begin a new growth phase hundreds of times during a single life. And indeed, you have done this. And at every time of completion, a newly expanded agenda has been established. This is done for you, by you. This is what you are doing right now. What else do you imagine is going on here? It is your idea that you live in a cruel and is it your idea that you live in a cruel and heartless world? Do you have it constructed that life is against you? That you are simply unappreciated, unrewarded, and even worse, unworthy? Nothing could be further from the truth. It is, in fact, exactly the opposite. It is because you are deeply appreciated, richly rewarded, and gloriously worthy that your life is presenting you with this invitation, current invitation. You have reached completion before and you have done it again. And now you are being elevated to the next level as you advance ever onward. This is the agenda of the soul. And this process, beloved one, is called evolution. It is a process of which you are a living demonstration. Evolution is not a process that stops. Completion, therefore, does not mean that you have finished something. On the sacred journey, it is impossible to be completely complete, because the instant you reach completion, so the soul conceives of a grander experience yet. This is not, however, a source of frustration, nor would you ever desire this process to end. The bliss of evolving to higher and higher levels of divinity is the ultimate attraction. It is the attraction of life to more life. It is the attraction of God to God itself. It is the impulse of the divine in you. Divine impulse, your basic instinct, is for you to be everything that is possible for you to be in any given moment. It is the inner feeling that pulls you to the part of you that you are drawn to on top of every step of the road, every second of your life, the highest truth, the grandest love, the deepest wisdom, the greatest compassion, the largest understanding, the longest patience, the strongest courage, all or any one of these aspects of the divine, and countless other aspects as well, for the divine is infinitely divine in an infinite number of ways. You may remember that chapter 11 was titled The Most Important Question of Your Life. And it said that this inquiry was, how does what I am doing right now serve the agenda of my soul? Another version of that same question might be, how do I choose for divinity to be expressed through me in the next grandest way in this moment? In your answer is found a true act of creation. In your reply is found a true experience of free will. In your response is found in the act of being God itself. God is what you say God is. Love is what you say love is. Truth is what you say truth is. Nothing has any meaning save the meaning you give it. Can you live in such a world without absolutes? In such a world, you are the determiner. In such a world, you are the decider. In such a world, you are the declarer. A soul knowing. Heaven is not a kingdom where you pay homage to someone else. It is a kingdom where you treat yourself as royalty. In such a kingdom, you are the creator. This is the kingdom of heaven. It is not a kingdom where everything has been decided for you. It is a kingdom where you get to decide about everything. Now that is truly heaven. It is not a kingdom where you pay homage to someone else. It is a kingdom where you treat yourself as royalty. Can you stand to live in such a kingdom? Can you bear to treat yourself not as the lowest of the low, but as the most high? Does it sound sacrilegious to even use such a phrase to describe you? Well, here is the good news. You are included, not excluded, from the definition and description of the Most High. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. That word has been uttered in hundreds of ways across thousands of moments over 1,000,000 years and more. Some of those ways, Adonai, Allah, Brahma, Elohim, God, Hari, Jehovah, Krishna, Lord, Rama, Vishnu, Yahweh, and not one of those ways does not include you. At the beginning of this exploration, you were told that you had received a special invitation from life itself. That invitation will now be spoken as questions. Will you allow yourself to recreate yourself anew in each golden moment of now, in the next grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had about who you are? Will you consciously give divinity the experience of knowing itself and showing itself in, as, and through you? This is a quote from Conversations with God, Book 1. You are goodness and mercy and compassion and understanding. You are peace and joy and light. You are forgiveness and patience, strength and courage, a helper in time of need, a comforter in time of sorrow, a healer in time of injury, a teacher in times of confusion. You are the deepest wisdom and the highest truth, the greatest peace and the grandest love. You are these things, and in moments of your life, you have known yourself as these things. Choose now to know yourself as these things always. End of chapter.
Thank you, Linda. Anybody like to start?
Well, the thing that I noticed sort of at the front of this chapter was, I mean, life goes in phases, sort of, like we complete a level, sort of, as he was talking about, and then we have a new desire or something. And it's just how I see it. It's a game and we're leveling up. No. But what I thought about was, you know, I'm 60 now, and I have friends who are younger, and I look and I see like when I was younger, how I struggled with certain things that I don't struggle with now. And it's like you can point people and give them signposts, but what I understood from this chapter is it's sort of that way on purpose because they're going through their learning process to internalize the things the same way I did. So it was just interesting for me because I've had a lot of, I'm always trying to sort of be helpful to the people coming along on the similar path in a different phase. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Or shall we read on? I will take that as a read on. Did you have something you wanted to say, Romy, or you just agree?
I agree to read on.
Okay. All right, take it away, Linda.
Okay. Chapter 14, the process, the path, and the purpose. There is no suggestion in all that has been said here that it should not be implied, and it should not be implied that in the process of divinity expressing, what one is doing is irrelevant and unimportant. All life, including so-called spiritual side of life, involves doing this. Everyone is always doing something. It is impossible to not be doing something. Even when you sleep, your body and mind are doing something, beating your heart, growing your hair, dreaming your dreams, even sometimes solving your problems. You are always up to something. The question is not, what are you up to when you are fully conscious and awake? The question is how and why. The answer to that question lies in the perspective you embrace about the reason anything in particular is happening, and the way you are going to play your part in it, even if your part is only that of an observer. Actually, there's no such thing as only an observer. Quantum physics tells us that nothing that is observed is unaffected by the observer. This means that even the act of simply observing something in a particular way impacts what is being observed from near or from afar. So whatever you're doing with regard to any situation or during any moment in your life, simply observing or engaging more actively, remember this always. Doing this demonstrates who you are. It does not create it. In this, most of the human race has it backward. Seeking to express yourself as who you are is the path of the soul. Throughout your life, you are moving ever and ever closer to self-realization. When you demonstrate who you are, you receive self-realization. And having reached completion of the sacred journey, your divine purpose is fulfilled. And again, this can occur many times in your life and does. You have experienced far more than a few moments in which you have expressed the qualities of the divine. Your humility or your culture may prohibit you from labeling it as that or describing it in this way, but a rose by any other name is still a rose. You have behaved with utter magnificence on many occasions. And now, during this unique time in the evolutionary cycle of humanity, and as you move forward with expanded consciousness in your life, with your sensitivity to everything much higher than ever before, it is important to understand that sometimes a demonstration of divinity may not always look like what you call the easiest path. As mentioned earlier, some people actually experience more joy, achieve more goals, and work more effectively when facing a major challenge than they do when the going is easy. In such a case, easy may not be better. It may also not be faster. Sometimes life has already taught you that the shortest route is not necessarily the quickest route. So while the path of the soul may not always be the route with the fewest challenges, it will always be the best route, given where the totality of you is choosing to go, based on where it is right now, as a result of all your previous choices and decisions. The soul defines best as that which is most likely to allow the highest expression of self that you next choose to experience based on life's divine purpose. There is such a purpose, of course, the eternal journey of the soul. This present cycle of life is not without purpose. There is a reason it is occurring. Life has reason and a purpose. All people yearn to know what it is. Most have not yet clearly understood. Your soul is not on a wild goose chase. It is not moving through time and space forever without a clear objective. Quite to the contrary, the soul's objective is very clear. Remember that it was said, when divine purpose has been fulfilled, then your soul has reached completion on the sacred journey, and this is accomplished in stages. Let us discuss then this thing called divine purpose. The divine purpose is for life to be used by divinity to express divinity in order that divinity may experience divinity in all of its aspects. In short, God is using life in order to experience itself. Divinity can be experienced only through the expression of it. Divinity can be imagined, it can be thought about, and it can be held in awareness by the soul. But until it is expressed, it is merely a concept. Unless it is expressed, it cannot be experienced. A soul knowing. Until you express divinity, you cannot experience divinity. You can talk about love, you can imagine love, you can think about love, you can hold love as an idea conceptually, but until you express it, you cannot experience it. You can talk about compassion, you can imagine compassion, you can think about compassion, you can hold compassion as an idea conceptually, but until you express it, you cannot experience it. You can talk about understanding, you can imagine understanding, you can think about understanding, you can hold understanding as an idea conceptually, but until you express it, you cannot experience it. You can talk about forgiveness, you can imagine forgiveness, you can think about forgiveness, you can hold forgiveness as an idea conceptually, but until you express it, you cannot experience it. To help the mind better grasp this, let's use that aspect of human life called sexuality. You can talk about sexuality, you can imagine sexuality, you can think about sexuality, you can hold sexuality as an idea conceptually, but until you express it, you cannot experience it. Divinity is all of these things and much more. It is patience and kindness, goodness and mercy, acceptance and forbearance, wisdom and clarity, gentleness and beauty, selflessness and nobility, benevolence and generosity, and yes, much, much more. You can imagine all of these things. You can think about all of these things. You can hold all of these things as ideas conceptually. But until you express all of these things in you, through you, as you have not experienced divinity. And you will never have an opportunity to experience these things unless life provides you with such an opportunity. This is what life is doing every day. Indeed, this is the purpose of life itself. Therefore, when life brings you challenges, difficulties, and unique conditions, situations, and circumstances that are ideally suited to bring out the best in you, judge not and neither condemn, but be a light unto the darkness, that you might know who you really are, and that all those who live, whose lives you touch, might know who they are as well by the light of your example. While the idea that God uses life to know God's self, that was bad. Hang on. Sorry about that.
Are you okay, Linda?
Yeah, I'm okay. The mic fell on the floor, so hang on a second. Okay, I got it repositioned. The dog moved, the mic fell. Okay.
Life happens.
All right. While the idea that God uses life to know God's self is surely not new to you, why God works this way may very well be something you'd like to know more about. So here is the explanation. God cannot experience all that God is within the spiritual realm alone, because in that realm, there is nothing that God is not. This realm of the spiritual is the place where God is all there is, where love is all there is, where perfection is all there is. It's a wonderful place because there is nothing but divinity. It is, in short, what you would call heaven. There is, however, this particular reality. There is nothing that God is not. And then the absence of what God is not, what God is not experienceable. The same is true about you. You cannot experience what you are except in the presence of what you are not. Nor is anything able to be experienced unless it is in a contextual field that includes its opposite. The light cannot be experienced without the darkness. Up has no meaning in experience without down. Fast is simply a term, a word, having no meaning whatsoever without slow. Only in the presence of the thing called small can the thing called big be experienced. We can say that something is big. We can imagine that something is big. We can conceptualize something as being big. But in the absence of something that is small, big cannot be experienced. Likewise, in the absence of something infinite, or rather into something finite, infinity cannot be experienced. Put into theological terms, we can know divinity conceptually, but we cannot know it experientially. Therefore, all the people and events of your life, now or in the past, which seem to be at odds with you who are, and what you choose to experience, are simply gifts from the highest source, created for you and brought to you through the collaborative process of co-creating souls, allowing you to find yourself in a contextual field within the fullest experience of who you really are becomes possible. Or as it was so wonderfully stated by the divine in Conversations with God, I have sent you nothing but angels. Now there's a statement to remember. It was said here that your eternal sacred journey has a purpose, and it does indeed. It is a purpose established by divinity itself. The divine purpose is to expand the reality of God. In simple terms, and these are simple terms, God is growing, becoming more of itself through the process called life. God is this process. God is both the process of life itself and the result of it. Thus, God is the creator and the created, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the unmoved mover, the unwatched watcher. In not so simple terms, God cannot grow because everything that God ever was, is now, or ever will be, is now. There is no time and there is no space. Therefore, there is no time in which to grow and no space into which to grow. The cycle of life is occurring simultaneously everywhere. When the human mind wants to call God's growth, what the human mind wants to call God's growth is merely God experiencing more and more of itself as the individuations of God experience more and more of themselves. This is called evolution. This was accomplished by the whole dividing itself, not to be confused with separating itself from itself, recreating itself in smaller and finite form. No finite form, by the very reason of its being finite, could hold the infinite consciousness, awareness, and experience of the whole. Yet each individuated form was designed uniquely to reflect a particular aspect of divinity itself. Putting all these aspects together again, as one puts the pieces of a puzzle together, produces a picture of what all the pieces create, namely God. All the pieces are part of the picture, and no piece is less a part of the picture than any other. Get the picture? Now, some forms of life have been endowed with a level of essential essence, a raw energy from which everything springs, sufficient to produce the possibility of that essence knowing itself. This is the quality in certain living things that is called self-consciousness. Human life, and we suspect with good reason life elsewhere in the universe, was designed in such a way that what we call expansion of consciousness and experience is possible. In fact, human consciousness can expand even to a point where it once again knows itself as part of the whole. Jesus, for instance, said, I am the Father. I and the Father are one. He understood his relationship to God perfectly. He understood that the picture which the puzzle created was not complete without him. He was the completion. A soul knowing God is both the process of life itself and the result of it, as are we all. Take one piece of the puzzle away and the picture is not complete. The experience of becoming fully conscious occurs through a process by which the individual aspect does not grow actually, but simply becomes more and more aware that it does not have to grow, but truly is, in its individuated form, divinity itself. The individual piece recognizes itself as the puzzle itself, simply divided. The spectacular psychological, physiological, and theological transition into that higher level of self-awareness occurs only once in the epochal history of every sentient species in the cosmos. And this is precisely what is happening within the human race right now. In the very first chapter of this book, we said something very unusual is occurring on this planet right now. We weren't kidding. End of chapter.
Thank you, Linda. And I appreciate you reading. And would anybody like to start a conversation?
I'm Joanne.
Hi,
I-
Joanne.
I really liked the idea of everybody. I have sent nothing but angels. It's something I feel like I have to struggle with all the time. When I have conflict with people or a conflict in my mind, it may not even manifest in reality. It may just be in my mind, but to remember that, always that they're there as a gift to me to see who I am. And that can be challenging, something I don't want to see. But I really liked hearing that again.
I underlined I don't know what page it's on because I'm using my Kindle and I'm Kindle. I got Kindle problems. uh, the realm of the spiritual is the place where God is all there is, where love is all there is, where perfection is all there is. It's a wonderful place because there is nothing but divinity. It is, in short, what you would call heaven. And the reason that strikes me, outside of probably some obvious things, usually the first Sunday of every month, we have a call called the Power of Prayer call. And I co-host with Reverend Robert Brzezinski on that. And I take all our prayer requests and put them into groupings of what they're praying for, because there's so many people that there's no way we could get to everyone if we handle each one separately. And I've been doing this for quite a while. But that passage that I just read, and I'm not saying God wasn't here with me when this happened, but yesterday there were probably 100 requests And most of them were so deeply sad or disturbing. Um, I, I just, these people felt so alone and so saddened with the life they were in. And when I read that paragraph, I thought, not yesterday when this was going on with me, but I thought when I read the paragraph, these people are begging for prayers and seemingly begging to have God show up in their lives. But they are responding to a prayer group, so they must believe. But it's really hard. It was probably the hardest I've been doing this for about 10 years. It's one of the hardest groupings of prayer requests I've read. And I have to say, if I'm honest with myself, I didn't feel like God was there during that time yesterday that I spent separating out all the different prayers over.
I wonder if this last paragraph has something to do with it. You know, we're talking about this higher level of self-awareness that's happening on the planet right now. That isn't one of the ways people are experiencing that, is this feeling of being, you have to experience the opposite, you know, in order to, you know, you have to have the opposite in order to experience the oneness, you know. First you have to have the aloneness, and then, I don't know, I'm just wondered if that may have contributed to people's feelings of separateness and aloneness, as something major is happening on the planet right now.
Thank you for that response. It resonates with me.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when things show up, which they have done and which they are doing, that I really feel challenged by and really wish weren't there, it's through them that I upgrade myself, because I have to. I'm kind of catapulted into a dilemma that I have to find a way through. So to give thanks for the opportunity of the challenge to grow myself, to grow the divinity. That's how I'm seeing it from the reading, and how I'm experiencing it from my life as well, you know, as we all do. But I never learn anything like in my comfort zone much. I don't learn anything there. I have another cup of tea. It's when the hard things show up that I start learning.
That's a very good point.
And I start finding capacities that I never knew.
Don't know, but I think she froze up.
Can I jump in?
Sure. And welcome.
Hi.
Oh, Yeah, thanks. I was on one other time here. I just keep forgetting you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I wish there was more study groups. I guess I need to start one, huh?
Yeah,
So when you were talking about that, I think what happens that I have to realize is that it's not like God's there or not there. It's that the presence is always there, but I have no awareness of it. But it doesn't mean it's not there. So when you were talking about these people that were feeling really lost and isolated, and alone, and so they have no awareness that the beating their heart and breathing their breath is the presence of God. And so but what all this requires is a tiny bit of open-mindedness to begin a conversation. That's obviously what we're doing, and the conversation is with something other than our mind. We don't have to have a name, you can call it God, but sometimes people, you say the word God and they associate their history of that word. And so sometimes it's almost a hindrance. But you can talk about it anyway, but all it's required is a willingness to try to, for me, my experience has been to talk out loud and ask, okay, Creator, is there another way to see this other than the way I'm seeing it? And somehow from just being willing to ask the question is the willingness that's required on my part to open up a dialogue. It might be really small in the beginning, but that seems to be what it takes on any day. I get up if I get up in the morning and my mind is caught up, already there's a voice in my head telling me about the problems of the day, and I say, okay, thank you. But then I begin a conversation. Can you redirect my thinking? Creator, can you redirect my thinking towards good purpose? And so whatever I come up with in my relationship with my Creator is to talk, ask for what I want. Can I see the world through your eyes? Can I see something other than what my mind is telling me? And so, but it seemed like a turning point or a change happened when I realized that it wasn't I was trying to get something from the outside in, but I was trying to awaken the presence that's already there. That's my gift for being alive, that creation gave me this gift of life. And it's that life, the authentic self that I'm trying to awaken to. And the answers to all my problems are already there, but I can't see them because I've got all this stuff in the way. So I don't know if does that make sense?
yes, very well said.
Yeah, I also think that with I also hang on at the position, I only send you angels. I think if I'm aware of this angel, then I'm fine. But sometimes we are not aware. We are so cut in the daily necessary things in apostrophes, in paragraphs, that we nearly forget about it. And at the moment I'm able to jump out of it and to see the gift in it, in whatever situation, then I think it go, yeah. I really, at the moment I can learn with something, or I can appreciate, or just I can take it. And I think it's also the moment where I jump out of my mind. I jump and yeah. And I think then to be aware of it, that's very helpful to me. Yeah. And also to know that life drives in cycles, and to know that when I'm on a high cycle, that it will go down, and on a down cycle that it will go up. And I think it's also the wording, nothing goes forever. It's also helpful sometimes. It's not a big, when it's nice, it's a little but if it's felt not so nice, it's sometimes helpful to say, okay, nothing is forever. It just helps me sometimes. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
I was laughing about the life brings me nothing but angels the whole time was trying to get back into this meeting that my cat knocked me out of.
Ah,
That must have
what
been an
clever
angel
cat.
too. Of course, my cat is an angel, but yeah, it's like it's a good reminder sometimes that everything, you know, everything is happening for us, not to us, you know. So something came of that. I don't know what, a little giggle.
Share something?
Yes, go ahead, Bima.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it seems like we,
Go ahead, Bima.
Okay, yeah. Actually, it is, I mean, the bodies need so much attention and care and focus. So it is very difficult to get lost in the identification with the body instead of the source. So it's not so, I mean, I can understand people who are worried and lots of things and scared and everything because the body takes so much attention. And but beyond that, he's describing it very nice in this book, because this body is an instrument for the source, and it is basically it's very natural. And when I look at you here, you are all instruments, and we are connecting. We are the same source manifested in different aspects. So it is not so. I mean, I can understand people who are not thinking the way I do, because if you haven't had this experience from inside, it's difficult to understand it. So we can nurture it by reading things like that and discussing like this and sharing our experiences. I think that is very important. So for me, I understand people who don't understand it because they identify so deeply with the brain and the mind and the thoughts, and because this body needs very much care from the very start to the very end, and we can't trust that everyone else cares about. We have to care about this body that we have as an instrument, but we are not these bodies. We are just, yeah, it's a gift for a while. That's how I see it. Over. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, were you going to say something?
yeah, you know, one of the questions that I asked in meditation was the word pause kept coming to my mind. And I said, okay, well, how long do I need to pause? And I asked that question. And later on in the day, for whatever reason, I was outside in the bright sunshine. And when I came in the house, I started my watch to see how long it took for that yellow spot in front of my eyes to go away. And for me, it was a big deal because it takes 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. There really is no yellow spot in front of my eyes, right? In order to become still and to be able to think coherently, I have to be able to, you know, I have to come into balance again. And so the physical part of my body takes 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes once I'm blown out of, you know, because I'm overstimulated by life, the sunshine. And I thought, well, that's probably true for any disturbance that I have, whether I'm upset. I'm going to have to be calm and ask for peace or joy or some aspect of divinity for about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, just to come back into where I can be open to hear something other than my self-talking mind. So it was, and I've tried it out many times, and the only time it doesn't work is when I don't give it the 2 minutes. You know, I try to do it on the run when I'm driving at 70 miles an hour, and it doesn't work, you know. But if I pull off the side of the road and shut the car off and give it that 2 minutes and just envision God's peace in my heart, then amazing things happen. But because otherwise I feel like I'm driving my car either, and I'm doing like a freight train, you know, it's going 70 miles an hour. It doesn't stop right away. So if I'm disturbed, I'm going to have to be still for a period of time. So stop, and then I have a choice of whether I want to get back on that same train or do I want to ask for a new direction. And And so I love it when I get a hit like that, you know, that I wish I had them every day, but you know, they sustain me because it makes it real for me. Then I begin to see that, yeah, that I can give it that 2 minutes. And, you know, some days I refuse. Some days I'm caught up in my agenda and I don't give God a chance. And I usually pay a price. So, but it's that pausing that's so important because especially when somebody's really disturbed, you know, in order to just quiet down and remember that breathe in and out, whatever you do for 2 minutes to get centered. It's so important. And that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, we are at the top of the hour. And Sweet Mary, would you like to close us up for the day?
Sure. Since I made it back in. Thank you to the Great Spirit, whatever we call it. There are so many names, and it's true. Some people don't like certain names. They bring up certain associations. And yet the name doesn't matter. What matters is the energy, and it's the energy of life that permeates everything and is indeed us and what we are made of as well. And we came here, all of us here on this call came here specifically to experience ourselves in this lifetime as this bit of divinity. And isn't it totally cool that we all came here to this same space to share this learning with each other? And in this space, it's so easy to know that we're all angels sent for each other, right? Sometimes it's more challenging out in the world when the angels and
Well, Mary, you froze.
little bits, and we're all part of the field, each expressing our own little bit of divinity in our own way. And here we are expressing together in this space. And isn't that a miracle for which I'm so grateful? Thank you all. And I carry all of you with me as I go about my week, truly.
Thank you, Mary. And thank everybody, Joanne, Kirsten, Ann, Evelyn, Paul, Romy, Mary. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for reading. Thank you, Bima. And Sarah, it was nice to see you here today. We've missed you.
Yes.
And anyway, I love you all and I appreciate you all. And we will see each other next week, same bat channel, same bat time. Okay, love you all.
Love you all.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye, thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Don't have an accident there, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you,
It's a little tricky
everyone.
Okay.
Get off of this thing.
Well, Paul is driving, so I'm not gonna. Force him
Yeah,
in.
well, yeah, if you end the call for all of it, disconnect me. I can't seem to disconnect.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can disconnect you because I need to talk to Romy for a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see
That's
if I
okay. And I can't.
think you can. Okay. Let me get off the freeway for a second. Get off this thing. Yeah, I really don't want to have an accident.
No, I don't want you to either. While you're doing that, Romy, I'm gonna run to the ladies' room real quick.
Hmm.
There we go.
So. I'm here. Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
What's up? I just wanted to know, I think a while ago, Christine asked you to put up the page for Humanities Team Switzerland.
Yeah, and I did.
Yeah, and then last time I just saw that when I would go in and put in something, then I'm there with my name. I'm not part of the humanities team. I mean, you know what I mean? By using the site, the page.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you. So
Just do that, yeah?
yeah, if I can. Where is that? There it is.
Mm. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, so now what seems to be the problem?
It's not. It's just a question. When I would take care of a humanities team Switzerland, what I do in future. When I then see something and I like it, I am there with my name, and how can you? I'm not part of the humanities team. You know what I mean?
Well, that's weird.
Because I saw there is some 1/8 from something somebody put in here. Okay, whatever. And then I just tried it, and then I saw myself with the name. But I think it's by the rules. When you give up rules, you have to, I think, co-moderator or moderation or something like this.
Right. Now, I wonder why. Let's see here. Why?
It's not but it's also not a big issue. Yeah, genau.
Well, you should be an administrator on the page. And it-
Yeah, that's this I am not, because if I would be administrator, because I'm usually use Facebook quite often, and sites I am not doing that much, but groups and all this stuff. And usually when you're moderator or administrator, then it goes with the name of the group.
Let's see here, what just happened.
Hmm.
What the heck?
Manage jobs, perhaps this one.
That's what I was looking at, and that's for posting a job. So that's not what we want to do.
No. That's a real job. Okay.
Publishing tools.
Hmm.
That is very strange. Nothing is showing. Okay. Scheduled posts. This is very interesting.
About site administration or something like, yeah, but I couldn't find it.
Well, it should be easy to find.
Yeah, but usually, you know what? When you are looking for something, then I think usually you find, yeah,
No, that wasn't it. It's security login.
I think it must be on the level of the page. You have to find it on the page, not on your personal settings.
Yeah, well, usually there's a thing that comes up over here that says manage admin or something like that. And I'm not.
Help and support. Yeah. Okay.
um, Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to look into this and then I'll.
Yeah. I mean, if you do it today or tomorrow, just let me know when it works, and then and I also have a look on one of my not published pages how it could be done, and if I see it, I can send you the link. No problem. Yes, and later on, okay. Because in the end, I think this page will be the administration is done by you and me.
Right. Well, the thing that's really interesting is that I've set up 100 of these pages.
Oh,
And what I'm looking for is not showing up. So I don't understand that.
yeah, but they change a lot of whatever. I last time also was looking for something by events, and they have put it on another place, and I was not aware of it, and I was searching for it 15 or 20 minutes.
Well, let's do this. I've got another call coming up. What I will do as soon as that call is over, I will investigate.
Yeah, just do it. Take your time and just let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. And I have been noticing that people are joining that page.
Yeah, because later on I mean now it's then afterward, yeah, it would be.
No, that's not what it should be. Okay, I will look into it.
Yeah, and
And,
let me know.
I'll
Okay, fine.
I'll get it
Yeah.
fixed. And if I don't get it fixed, I'll get a hold of somebody who.
Yeah, and I'm just have a look now on one of my pages where it's not published, if I can see the button and so, and if I see it, I put it in an email or so, yeah.
Okay.
All the things we don't use every day. Okay. Okay, have a nice time. Enjoy the day.
All right, you too.
Thanks.
Glad you're part of the group. Thank you. See you later.
See you.
All right, bye-bye.